Let's rank some episodes, shall we? At the time of making this video, there have been 10 episodes released so far. 10 episodes, but only 5 will make the cut. Which episodes will those be? It isn't like there were any bad episodes, but you really can't say that each of them were equally as good as the other one, can you? So let's find out which among these 10 episodes came out better than the other. Please take note though, this ranking was based on my own personal judgment, not by a body of peers. It's not like I have one of those anyway. And I didn't set any specific metric like scoring an episode aesthetically or plot-wise, etc. I based it solely on more of a general feeling of sorts. How much impact it dealt to me as a casual viewer, how much it excited me, or how it affected me in a more somber tone. You know what I'm talking about, right? Feelings. Alright then, with that settled, let's go through some graphic first. As you can see here, I've picked the 5 best episodes ranked from 5th to 1st, and on the bottom there, we have the unfortunate 5 that just didn't make it through. Let's start by revealing 2 of the unlucky 5 then. One more thing, 4 of the 5 that didn't make it through, again, those that did not make it through, do not follow any particular order. So if you think that I'm revealing 4 of the bottom 5 on how they rank, sadly you're mistaken. Really don't see the need for it. Except for one episode though, because I think you might disagree with me for not putting it among the top 5. Which makes this list a little more exciting. With that out of the way, episode 1. I'm sorry to tell you this, but if the only reason that you even thought of including this on the top 5 is because of this, then for me that's just too weak of a reason. Sure, it had a great opening, but sadly that isn't enough to make the cut. The only other thing it had going on was getting a better look at Thor's change, and how much he really valued the life of a person now, no matter how insignificant it may be to another person's eyes.
Okaeri, Thorfinn. その人誰? よその奴隷だよ。逃げてきたんだ。生き返った!
Same with episode. Though I think this one really isn't up for any debate, as heavy as this scene may be.
ある日、急に嫌になったんだ。殺すのも、殺されるのも。だから逃げたんだ。戦場から。死んだようにうまく見せかけたつもりだったんだがな。
Thor's, despite faking his death, running away from all of it, living a more peaceful life, just weren't enough to escape from the terrors of his past, and not enough to land a spot at the top 5. We all know by now who this guy is, and of course has made a significant contribution to pushing this episode into 5th place. Moments like showing glimpses of still being that warm, loving kid who loved and looked up to his father, Thor's, despite turning into a cold, ruthless killer.
俺の探検を返してくれ。親父の形見なんだ。
How small a token it may have been, a dagger that I'm willing to bet has pretty much dulled by now. With all the people he stabbed, sliced open, and dismembered with it, he was still willing to risk his neck in order to retrieve it. Also, one of the highlights of this episode, solo killing the captain of the army guarding the fort. Showing off the skills, nimbleness, and fearlessness is required throughout being a part of Askeladd's band of murderers. He rushed towards him, going through the rest of the soldiers guarding the captain like they were immobile targets for his daggers, quenching its thirst for blood once more. But these weren't the moments of this episode nor the character that was focused in it that pushed this episode in the middle of the rankings. It was this guy right here. I've mentioned in my previous video, check it out if you haven't yet, that I already have the biggest man crush for Askeladd. But I promise you it wasn't because of my bias towards him that helped this video to rank highly. It was simply how awesome this moment is, truly fulfilling his charismatic persona, entertaining us with his tactical ingenuity in the earlier part of the episode, and of course his wiliness, taking all the treasure for himself and his crew, giving nothing back.
これでも謙虚な方だと思うぜ。砦はくれてやるんだからな。
Going back a few episodes, we have our 4th placer. Thor's and his decision to lead a life of pacificity after faking his own death was so strong that not only did it change him, it even influenced the people surrounding him. The young man who decided to go along with Thor's, when he was forced to accept Floki's orders to serve once more, clearly didn't have any experience nor knowledge of what true battle is, nor what men are really like who's faced death many times.
よせあれ。奴らは手だれだ。農民が夏場の出稼ぎでやってる海賊とはわけが違う。 お前の叶う相手じゃない。
Despite turning into a man whose reason to live now was that of peace and love, his skills as a phenomenal warrior still didn't wane. Taking care of Askeladd's crew as if a child's play, he did so without even delivering a lethal blow against them. A peek on just what the legendary Troll of Yom was capable of. A title he earned by taking the lives of hundreds, maybe even thousands more than what he's faced right now. But what cemented this episode in its current place was this moment right here. A quick look back on why Thorfinn gave so much value to the dagger Thor's handed to him. This moment passed by so quickly that for some of you, it may not have had so much weight behind it. But for me, these were the few seconds that molded the Thorfinn that we have now. Though turned into a murderer whose mind is only filled with vengeance, he isn't completely mindless and still keeps to him the values of a warrior, which Thors have handed down to him along with the dagger. 4 episodes down, 6 more to go. Before proceeding to our top 3, let's first reveal the remainder of the unfortunate episodes that couldn't make the cut. Again, I just want to emphasize that none of these episodes were bad. They just weren't outstanding enough to be included in my top 5 list. First off, we've got episode 8. This episode really didn't have much going on for it. The best it had for me was a preview of the coming war that Denmark was about to wage on England. Next episode that also failed to make the list is the preceding episode, which I treated very similarly to episode 1. Just as how Thor's scene was one of the better highlights on the first episode, it was also one of the reasons it didn't rank too highly for me. The same could be said for Thorfinn and Thorkel's battle in this episode. It's great to look at, don't get me wrong, but it really didn't have too much meaning behind it aside from it being hype. And saving the last episode that couldn't make the cut, which I think it gets some flack for not ranking this a little higher, is episode 4. Look, this episode was a strong one. Askeladd and Thor's doing battle and one of the greatest deaths in anime in general. But what preceded it was just too off-putting. I know it was bound to happen, but maybe, just maybe, if they saved the scene on the next episode, episode 4 would have been a whole lot better. I'd even rank it as 3rd or even 2nd on my list. With that out of the way, let's talk about 3 of the best episodes so far. After Thor's death, we go back to a village where Leif has returned, bringing with him distraught young men and the heaviest of news. Trying not to show any weakness, perhaps as to let the village know that a child of the leader who protected and looked over them for all these years would not be so fragile that she would let her father's demise break her. Ylva carried on, doing the tasks the men left behind while taking care of her sickly mother. But no matter how tough of a husk Ylva tried to show in front of her mother, she could not escape Helga's piercing gaze and along with it, her complete understanding of her daughter. No longer able to hold it in, she gave herself to her mother's embrace, her emotion in shambles. But with the absence of his mother, Thorfinn could only rely on himself to find the strength to do what he thinks he must do. A vendetta he has pledged to chase from this day forth. He struggled, even at death's door, in order to survive. A determination that even Askeladd and his crew could not ignore. Now being taken under Askeladd's wing, Thorfinn had no choice but to accept his weakness and strive to become stronger under the watchful eye of Askeladd, whose intention still has not been completely revealed. We are now down to 2 episodes, but before that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button down there to see more of my future videos. Alright then, between these 2, which one actually propelled itself to the top? Was Thorfinn's montage of slowly becoming the warrior his father did not want him to be enough to push this episode to the top? A transformation that, in the back of Thorfinn's mind, and also Askeladd's, was a necessary evil if he were to survive in the harsh world of Vinland Saga, and inevitability if Thorfinn truly wishes to take Askeladd's head one day. Was the rare occurrence of Askeladd and Thorfinn having a less aggressive conversation in episode 10 not able to stop episode 6's climb to first place? A conversation where Askeladd for once, did not mock nor belittle Thorfinn, but for the first time, actually took the position of a mentor trying to ingrain lessons to his trainee, Thorfinn.
回りくどいんだよ。何が言いてえ？
せっかちだね。年寄りの話は聞くもんだぜ。
Or were Thorkel and his band of bear-like warriors strong enough to carry this episode to the mountain's peak, where it stands uncontested? Impatient and frustrated for not being granted the battle he has been craving, the sole reason why he sided with the English in the first place, he brute forced his way through the Danish army and took their prince captive, so as to provoke the king's entire army to rush towards Thorkel's open arms. Did Thorfinn's more solemn moment with an English mother and daughter stop episode 6 short from a place at the top? A moment where he could have reverted back to being the warm and loving boy before he set out on the adventure that would forever change his life.
何やってるか分かってんの？あの子は海賊なんだよ。人だって2人も殺してる。子供のくせになんでかくまったりするのよ。
子供が海賊なんて普通じゃないよ。何か事情があるんだろう。
If only he opened his heart to the English woman's genuine concern for him, could have granted him a chance at living a more peaceful life. Or is it in fact the moment where he denied such kindness and he fully accepted his fate as a slave to revenge that made this episode the best so far? After their failure to understand Thorfinn's message to flee due to the danger that was about to land on their shores, uncaring and cold, Thorfinn only shrugged it off, already forgetting the mother and daughter's act of kindness. Sadly though, not only for the mother and daughter, but for the entire episode, Thorfinn's turn to the dark side was unable to turn this episode to being number 1. The calm before the storm, and what a terrifying storm it will be. The sole survivor of Prince Canut's personal army, rushing towards the main army to inform them of the prince's captivity, was stopped short by Askeladd. Hearing the events that transpired that led the soldier to fleeing, Askeladd weighed his options, and with a single strike, exclaimed to his crew they would not bother with assisting the main army and instead face Thorkel, claiming fortune and glory for themselves.
いいか野郎ども、よく聞け。我々は今からクヌート王子殿下の救出に向かう。相手はトルケル以下500。だが他の部隊の手は借りん。ここが博打の打ちどころだ。クヌート殿下はデンマーク王位継承権第2位のお方。どちらの軍に渡しても報酬はたんまりだ。お前ら想像できるか？デンマークとイングランド、二大国の覇者が賜るご褒美をみすみす他の奴らに譲る手はねえぜ。
Expecting no less from their enigmatic leader, they shouted in response for the fortune that awaits, for the glory to be granted, for their triumph to be immortalized, and for this episode to become the best amongst the 10 so far.
どうせならパーッと暴れてみようじゃねえか。
Thanks for watching this ranking video, guys. Hope you liked it. And if you did, please do hit that like button down there. And let me know what your favorite Vinland Saga episodes are so far. Just comment down below. Also, please consider subscribing so you won't miss out on the next video, alright? Until next time.